you actually visited North Dakota National Guard soldiers at the border last month. I also want to talk about this divide when it comes to immigration and border security because it is a lightning rod issue in this country. Republicans faced criticism that the reason the Biden-backed bipartisan border bill was dead on arrival in the House was because Donald Trump wasn't supportive of it. The Biden administration and Democrats have been pilloried since border crossings reached record highs under the Biden administration. So A, could you tell us about your experience at the border? And B, what would you tell former President Donald Trump when it comes to border security?
Well, two things. I was down at the border last August, and I was again down there just recently. One change that Americans should know is that from last summer, well, we had both times there was people from 140 countries coming in. Every country on the terrorist watch list, record number of people that are coming across that represent a danger to our country, and that's the national security, public safety risk that's there. But one big shift was China. Just in the sector that I was in a few weeks ago, just since October 1, there have been over 20,000 Chinese nationals that have entered the country, and these aren't people that are economically challenged or walked through the Darien Gap or have been on some journey for the last 9 months. These are people that flew from China to Ecuador where they don't need a visa. Then they fly from Ecuador to a border city like Mexicali, Nogales, or Tijuana, and then they pay somebody $5,000 to drive them to a hole in the wall, and then they walk into the United States. And some of them are coming across with roller bags and neck pillows. They just left China 2 days ago, and so this is a very different form of what's happening right now. And again, to my mind, not really being reported by the mainstream media. They keep focusing on what Congress is doing or not doing. And we all know that under President Trump, he was able to close the border. He didn't need a bill from Congress, and Joe Biden doesn't need a bill from Congress. And right now, there's nearly 1,000 positions that are open on the border right now among the Customs and Border Patrol. The Biden administration should just go out and fill those positions. And if they can't fill them, then they need to figure out a way to use other executive orders. If you got an executive order to shut down LNG facilities, which is a private sector activity, which is nothing to do with the federal authority, he certainly would have the executive authority to do his job, which is secure our borders. And so blaming blaming Republicans seems to be the strategy that Joe Biden has in an election year, as opposed to actually making America more secure.
How do you make America more secure? Because I've talked to many lawmakers and they say every state is a border state. Democrats say there's a crisis on the border. They obviously, as you were saying, blame Republicans. Republicans blame Democrats. What is the solution here? Because experts I've talked to say legislation isn't going to be passed before the 2024 election. So when can we, A, see any type of solution, and what do you think that solution needs to be?
Well, like I said, I don't think we need any bills in Congress. I think we just need executive branch fulfilling their authorities. I mean, Joe Biden, in his first 100 days in office, did 94 executive orders reversing activity that President Trump had done to make the border more secure. So what could happen right now doesn't require a bill, doesn't require an election, is Joe Biden could just say, hey, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have reversed those policies under the Trump administration. I'm going to drop those executive orders. I mean, that's something that he could do immediately. America needs to know that. He's playing the blame game. Blaming is not leadership. Leadership is actually solving a problem, and it's his responsibility. The federal government's got the tools, and he's not doing it because I think politically for him, his own party doesn't support closing the border. So that's why he's not doing it. I mean, if he cared about the 330,000 lives we've lost to overdose, or if he cared about public safety, if he cared about a future 9/11 event that could happen, because we've got people from Syria, North Korea, Iran, all coming into our country right now. I mean, we could have a terrorist cell that's just walked across the border. We don't even know they're here. If he cared about that, he would shut the border today. I'm talking about Joe Biden, because Joe Biden's got the tools right now as president to shut the border.